Alright, I'm about a week until my trip to India. I'm so excited. Ever since I've been working with animals now for over 10 years, people always ask, what kind of animals do you want to see in the wild? And the top one animal of that is always a tiger. I would love to see a tiger in the wild. Hopefully about a week away from that experience. I've been fortunate enough to work with them in captivity for a long time, but I always wanted to see one in the wild. So not only do I want to get good pictures and video for myself, but hopefully for you guys as well. And hopefully Safari India will be filled with lots of images of a tiger. It's a dream come true. I'm just trying to get all set here, and I'm really excited.
I started to pack, and I could feel the excitement. And I was in hopes to finally cross another dream off of my list. As you can see, some dreams just won't come true. But the tiger one, I had my hopes. You might ask, why is this dream to see a wild tiger? Well, since we got a 15-hour flight, I got time to tell you. I was born just outside of Chicago in the 1970s, a time where red foot pillows seemed cool. And, well, I guess we don't have to go back that far. After playing in a punk band in my 20s for over 10 years, I needed a change, since touring was becoming harder because of all of our schedules, and the music industry wasn't all that I hoped it to be. I needed sanctuary, and I found it inside a sanctuary of all places. So for a change of pace, I moved to Tampa, as I had heard about an up-and-coming cat rescue, and I soon found myself living in a rundown trailer out with all these cats. I mean it, there were cats everywhere, like this leopard just outside my porch. Here I learned the ins and outs of working with animals. I had pulled myself from the music world and threw myself headfirst into this animal world. I had a lot to learn, including that small cats like servals, they really don't need 10 pounds of food. I put in my time and worked my way up the ladder to become a big cat keeper. It was here I met a tiger that changed my life. Nini came from the circus, and even though I don't agree with having large exotic animals perform tricks for us, I was glad that they did decide to retire her with us. I enjoyed hanging out with Nini any chance I had a break from the hard work. I couldn't believe I had the chance to be around such an amazing animal like a tiger, and especially one with the personality of Nini. She loved food, but since she was on the heavy side, I couldn't always rely on food as a reward, so simply hanging out with her was what I did a lot of times. I spent countless hours with her, as I really didn't have a life outside of the sanctuary. Now the hands-off rules weren't in place yet here at Big Cat Rescue. Ah, the golden times. She got used to her pool, and I loved watching her play in it. Baby girl. When she got a new ball, everyone was glad she finally got a chance to get some exercise. Having her there made me interested not only in the captive tiger situations, but also in the wild tiger situations and what problems they faced. She was always a big hit on our tours, as she would always come over and chuff, their way of saying hello. So as I had the people's attention with her, I could tell them about the crazy captive situations we have here in the U.S., that a lot of people have these animals as pets, or in horrible little roadside zoos. She had the chance to hear me on hundreds and hundreds of tours in my years there. I knew that my time with Nini would be limited, and I promised myself I would work at Big Cat Rescue until she passed away, as I felt that she had had enough change in her life. Her health slowly started to fade, and while I was flying home from an African safari in January of 2006, I learned that Nini had passed. After she was gone, a part of me went with her for sure, and I thought I probably wouldn't ever get as close to another animal I worked with like her, since she was truly an original. Even though she had lived her life in captivity, she eventually got to help out the cats in the wild, as I sponsored a wild tiger in Asia, and I got to name her Nini. Still on this flight. Well, here's another one. I had worked hard at the rescue and helped to set some new protocols and procedures, but I always wondered what it was like to be a zookeeper at an AZA accredited zoo. So way back in 2003, I applied at Lowry Park Zoo and hoped to become a zookeeper along with keeping full-time hours at home at the sanctuary. I was hired, and working at the zoo was a new world, since at the sanctuary you had to wear a lot of hats as you did all sorts of chores. But at the zoo, your main focus was animal care, and there were all kinds of animals here that I had to care for. I really liked working around and training the cats, like the clouded leopard seen here.
Attention, target. 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 Good girl. Good girl.
A friend Carie had offered me a tiger to train, so I became the lead trainer of Enshalla, a beautiful and spirited Sumatran tiger. She was a lot more aggressive, you might say, than Nini, and it was interesting to have to handle all kinds of personalities from these cats. She had a way that when she looked at you, she could look right through you. Working at an AZA zoo, you have your SSPs, which lay out the breeding plans for certain species. Enshalla's partner was Eric. He would spend hours trying to get her to submit to him, but she was the queen. She certainly wore the pants in that enclosure. Now we had to keep a close eye on the pair, and I spent long hours observing them from a keeper hiding place away from the public. I also tried hard to get the zoo to support wild tiger conservation. Now the world isn't a perfect place, and things don't always work out in your favor. I see it as I am working for the animals first. I was not happy how our area was being run, and problems started occurring at the zoo. It isn't often in life where you're put to a test and see if you will actually put your career on the line to stand up for what you believe in. Well, we went our own ways, or rather, I lost my job. But I had a bad feeling since my good friend was also leaving the area for greener pastures. My main concern was in the way that the area was being run, and sadly, it didn't take long till after I left for an unfortunate event to take place. Just weeks after I left, a new keeper had left a door open on Enshalla's holding area, and she walked into an empty exhibit that was under construction. She became a hazard to people. She was shot and killed. So as you can see, these tigers have had a huge impact on all sorts of levels of my life. I run this whole Brian's Art for Animals things as a way to get more attention to animals like tigers and the various situations they face in captivity and in the wild. And speaking about wild tigers, I think this plane is finally landing.